everyone, this is Caitlin with Kait's Collectibles, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Disney Store's limited edition 17-inch Maleficent doll. So Maleficent was one of the series of dolls that they released when they released the Aurora doll for Sleeping Beauty. So Pink Aurora was the one that was announced ahead of time, and then sort of the last minute surprise, we're going to be doing these two and you can't pre-order them dolls were Blue Aurora, Maleficent, and Prince Philip. So Maleficent is one of my favorite Disney villains. Part of the reason for that, I think, is just that her whole reason for doing what she did, it seemed kind of petty to me, like just not being invited to a party. So she cursed her and everyone around her for, well, she was attempting to curse her to die, but it ended up getting changed to just sleep. The idea of her being a fairy, an evil fairy at that, is also kind of interesting. And she's just visually very interesting to look at too. So I really like the way they've done the box for most of the villains, but Maleficent especially. They've gone basically with black for the background. The pattern in the background here, you can kind of see, is very similar to this little logo that's around the age 6+ marker on it. It's just a very pale purple. So rather than being a reflective, difficult to see color, it's just very light in the background. The sort of thorny around her box framing is sort of this pink purple color that changes depending on how the light's reflecting on it. So I like the way that they did that. Black and purple are kind of a perfect color match choice for a villain, especially someone like her. Towards the bottom of her box here, we've got her ribbon marker. And again, I like that they did this sort of almost torn up looking edge. Maybe it's just the way it looks because of the reflectiveness, but it doesn't look as crisp or clean or pretty as some of the princessy ones are. And they point out that she is an edition size of 4,000. So on the side of her box, I've already removed the plastic just so that the reflection isn't in the way. But we've got the side of her box there, so similar sort of pattern as on the front with that same reflection. That goes for both sides. And trying to get a bit of a view of the top there. Same pattern, same reflection. You can see her head held in place there. And taking a quick look at the back of her box as well here. So we've got the logo for the movie, her name, and then this nice silhouette of her with, again, sort of this, like, these subtle flower patterns going around that area, and they describe the doll, of course, like usual as well. And in the very bottom corner, you'll see she's one of the dolls that were priced at $120 or $130, depending on whether you're in the US or Canada. So that higher price tag. Although with a doll like this one, because of some of the detail they put into it, I can kind of understand the price increase. Although I guess that's up for debate with some of the collectors, depending on how they felt about her. Maleficent is kind of a fan favorite when it comes to villain characters, so there were some people that were disappointed with how her overall look turned out. I will bring her plastic in. It's not terribly interesting, unfortunately. Same as the others, very much just the same pattern on the front with the white. The only detailing on the side that becomes significant is they have these little portions that show up in the window when the plastic is over top of her. So just kind of a generic flatter flower pattern. Let's see if that shows up a little easier. Nothing special, really. So having removed Maleficent's cover here, we can get a better look at the full doll. Let's place her back here for us. So she's sort of standing against the background of her tower. I was really glad that they included her sidekick Crow character with her staff. And I really like the way they've done this staff. The bauble on it that he's standing on has this really great sort of reflective silver kind of inside the crystal of the ball. And then they've actually got some detail with the claws here, and there's a couple little rhinestones all around it at the top. So I like the way that they did her staff. Now the doll herself, if we're taking a look at her face, one of the comments that some people made is that she kind of looks like someone in drag. I don't know that I'd necessarily agree with that. I think the main reason is that because she always had a very sort of a strong jaw, and by opening up her collar area rather than going with something that's true to the character's outfit, they just sort of glammed her up a little bit. I like the change, but I also have one of their older dolls that are not in production anymore of her that's maybe a little more movie accurate, so the change didn't bother me. The horns at the top of her head here are just like the molded plastic, so they fit in kind of like as one whole piece. They did do the nice big fake eyelashes on her, and it's difficult to see, but the white of her eyes has almost a touch of a yellow tint to it. Maybe it's just the way the light reflects. Or maybe it's just my eyesight, that's hard to say. The purple eyeshadow on her is pretty obvious a choice because of her color scheme. They took some artistic liberties with her collar, so her collar has that sort of flared multi-layer look with sort of a leathery material. And then they've got the rhinestones around the edges, with the bottom layer of the collar having that sort of purple satin. Then, of course, they've got sort of this, almost like a choker painted on her here. So you can see her clavicle right there, sort of where that would be. And then this portion is all painted on, so it's smooth. And then they've got this deep plunging V with her outfit, so a little bit racy. The rest of her robe is fairly similar to what her robe in the movie was like. I really liked this detailing that they did with the rhinestones as well as this sort of the thorny pattern across her sleeves that they stitched in. I think that's a really nice subtle detail that a lot of people miss out on. Then you get the rich satins with her robe. You've got the crinkly pleated portion going down the front of her dress as well as the red under her skirt. Her red, I believe the robe in the movie did have some color underneath it, although I can't for the life of me remember whether it was just the purple or whether there was red in it. Another really subtle detail on her is actually her hands. So if you take a look at her hand over here, they've got a ring painted on her hand as well as red nail polish. So that's kind of an interesting little subtle detail there. Her other hand, I don't think has a ring painted on. Nope, no ring painted on that one. So not something that they did uniformly for her hands, just the one. They do still have that sort of flame pattern at the bottom of her robe, but because of the way they've got her pinned down, you really can't see it at all unless you actually debox her. Give you a bit of a view from the side there. You can see the way they've pinned that back a little bit. And we'll go with the other side as well. Because of the way she's positioned, she is a little bit, I guess, dark in the box. So depending on where you have her displayed and how much light you actually have access to, you may find that you're not getting a great view per se of her sometimes. You can see her a little bit more. There we go. She really has a very kind of a snooty look to her that I like. And then I'll lift this up and out here. So her certificate of authenticity right there. So just, it almost looks like it's plain black, but it's not. It's got that same subtle pattern on it. And then her silhouette with the purple shiny reflection. And like I said, she was an edition of 4,000. So mine is number 1,399. And the back has the French. So if you're a fan of Maleficent, I think this is a really nice doll to have in your collection. Similarly, like I've said with some of the other Sleeping Beauty dolls, If you are collecting, say, just the Sleeping Beauty ones, if you're collecting all the 17s, if you just collect villains, great doll to have in the collection with you. However, if you're someone who only collects your absolute favorite dolls, absolute favorite characters, and you're humming and hawing over getting her, she does go for a little bit more than retail value, but not a whole ton. So unless you absolutely love her, feel like you absolutely have to have her in your collection, you're probably not missing out if you don't have her. I don't see her price jumping to that, $800, $1,000 mark like some of the dolls have, especially not anytime in the near future. So she's a little bit more affordable to get if you're thinking about waiting so that you can get something else in the meantime. Especially if you can get any of the new dolls coming out at retail. That's always kind of my suggestion to people, is to, if they want to get dolls that are about to come out at retail price and they're thinking about buying something else, unless you find a really killer good deal, just wait and get the dolls that come out at retail, because you can always save up money to pay eBay prices at a later date. So as usual, you can find me on Twitter at Kait Collectible. Make sure to like, comment, share this video with your friends. And of course, if you want to see more of my videos, be notified when my new ones come out. I'm trying to get videos out regularly because I have a fairly sizable collection to go through and document here. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching my video, and I'll see you again next time.